Modern cameras are technical miracles, sharper, faster, and cleaner than anything photographers could have imagined 2 decades ago. And yet, quietly, somewhere between all that perfection, something human slipped away. The Leica CCD era represents that lost moment, when digital photography was still rough around the edges, still emotionally connected to film, and still capable of producing images that felt less like data and more like memory. These are 5 legendary cameras from that era, and number 1 is still considered irreplaceable by some of the most serious Leica shooters alive today. You are watching Alt Buzz Archives. Subscribe right now, because this story was made for the photographers who still believe digital can feel alive. At number 5, we have the Leica D-Lux 4. There is a certain kind of camera that does not announce itself. It does not intimidate strangers. It does not demand a camera bag or a dedicated strap or a careful pre-shoot ritual. It simply goes wherever you go, and it waits. The D-Lux 4 was exactly that kind of camera, a pocketable, premium-feeling compact that carried the Leica identity without the rangefinder weight. It was not trying to compete with the M system. It was not trying to be the most powerful camera on the block. It was simply trying to make everyday photography feel intentional again. What made the D-Lux 4 special was not its specifications. It was the way it translated the ordinary into something worth keeping. The CCD sensor gave colors a quality that felt warm and physical, reds that had depth, shadows that carried mood, and highlights that fell off in a way that reminded you of prints rather than screens. By the standards of its time, it was already a niche choice. By today's standards, shooting with one feels almost rebellious, because in a world of smartphones that can capture 100 frames before your brain even registers the moment, the D-Lux 4 asked you to slow down, to notice, to choose. Was it perfect? Absolutely not. Low light performance was limited, and the dynamic range could feel narrow when conditions turned difficult. But perfection was never the point. The point was presence. The point was carrying a Leica in your pocket and letting the world know, quietly, without performance, that you still cared about the art of seeing. The D-Lux 4 belongs at number 5, not because it was the least impressive camera on this list, but because it was the most democratic. It was the entry point into the CCD era for photographers who were not yet ready for rangefinders, but were already tired of feeling nothing when they pressed the shutter. At number 4, we have the Leica Digilux 2. Before photography became a menu, it was a conversation between the photographer and the machine. You turned a dial. The machine responded. You adjusted a ring. The light changed. There was a rhythm to it, slow, deliberate, and deeply satisfying. And the Digilux 2 was built around that rhythm at a time when the rest of the industry was sprinting in the opposite direction. While other manufacturers were racing to bury physical controls under layers of digital menus, Leica released a camera with a real aperture ring, a real shutter speed dial, and a design philosophy that still respected the way film photographers had always worked. On paper, the Digilux 2 was modest. 5 megapixels, a fixed lens built around a Summicron design. Early digital color rendering that leaned soft and nostalgic rather than crisp and clinical. But numbers never tell the full story of a camera like this. The images that came out of the Digilux 2 had a texture to them, a gentleness that reminded many photographers of old family prints found in shoeboxes and forgotten for years. They did not look like modern digital files. They looked like photographs from a time when photography was still an event, still something you prepared for, still something that required a decision and a breath before the shutter fell. What the Digilux 2 proved, more than anything else, is that digital photography did not have to become soulless to become digital. It did not have to abandon the tactile language of photography to embrace the convenience of memory cards and instant review. You could still feel the resistance of a physical aperture ring. You could still hear the click of a mechanical dial. You could still slow down in a world that was beginning to speed up. That slowness, that deliberate, almost meditative pace is exactly why the Digilux 2 still earns respect from photographers who lived through it. It was not a limitation, it was a philosophy. At number 3, we have the Leica Digital Modul R. Not every revolutionary idea looks revolutionary at first glance. Some of them look strange. Some of them look impractical. Some of them look like exactly the kind of experiment that only a company with a century of photographic heritage would attempt. The Digital Modul R was all of those things at once. A Kodak CCD digital back that could be attached to the Leica R8 and R9 film camera bodies, transforming a fully mechanical system into something that existed in two eras simultaneously. It was not a camera in the traditional sense, it was a bridge. And the view from that bridge was unlike anything else available at the time. The concept was almost poetic in its engineering. You had a Leica R8 or R9 body, a mechanical masterpiece built for film, designed for the patient photographer who understood exposure and composition before the shutter ever fired. And then with the Model R attached, you were suddenly capturing digital files through vintage Leica R glass using a Kodak CCD sensor that carried its own distinct color language. The images it produced had a groundedness to them, a physical weight in the shadows, a richness in the midtones that felt connected to the lenses in a way that purely modern digital systems sometimes fail to achieve. You could feel the history in every frame. Was it practical? Not particularly. It was bulky, expensive, and built for a very specific kind of photographer who already had deep investment in the Leica R system and was not ready to abandon it for a clean digital start. But practicality was never the point of the Digital Modul R. The point was continuity. The point was Leica looking at its film users and saying, "We are not leaving you behind overnight. We will find a way to bring you forward without asking you to forget everything you already know." In the history of photographic transitions, very few companies made that gesture with as much sincerity as Leica did with the Model R. It remains one of the most fascinating cameras ever built, not because it was the most capable, but because it was the most honest. If stories like this are your kind of thing, the rare, the forgotten, and the genuinely legendary, and if you want to support what we do here at AltBuzz Archives, memberships start at just $7 a month. The link is in the description, or hit the join button right below this video. Subscribe if you have not already. We are just getting to the cameras that changed everything. At number 2, we have the Leica M8. There are cameras that become legendary because they did everything right, and then there are cameras that become legendary because they did something gloriously, unforgettably wrong. The M8 belongs firmly in the second category, and that is not an insult. It is an acknowledgement that character rarely comes without contradiction. When Leica released the M8, it was the brand's first attempt at putting a digital sensor inside a true M-system rangefinder body. The anticipation was enormous. The result was complicated, and the legacy has only grown richer with every passing year. The M8's most famous flaw was its infrared sensitivity. The sensor's built-in infrared filter was weaker than ideal, which caused certain dark fabrics, especially black clothing, to render with a strange purple cast under specific lighting conditions. It was the kind of issue that made headlines, generated heated forum debates, and sent Leica scrambling to offer filter solutions to early buyers. But here is the thing about the M8 that its critics never fully understood. For many photographers, those imperfections were not bugs. They were a personality. The absence of an anti-aliasing filter gave the files a raw, almost aggressive sharpness in good light. The black and white images it could produce were genuinely stunning, gritty, textured, and full of the kind of tonal depth that reminds you why photographers fell in love with monochrome in the first place. What the M8 ultimately represented was Leica's analog soul forced into a digital body before everything had been fully figured out. It was not polished, it was not safe. It had edges, literal and metaphorical, that you had to learn to work with rather than around. And in learning to work with them, photographers discovered something that modern cameras rarely offer: a relationship. A camera that required understanding, patience, and adaptation in exchange for images that carried genuine character. The M8 was flawed. It was also irreplaceable in the story of what Leica was trying to build. Because without the M8, there would have been no M9, and that is the camera that completed the vision entirely. At number 1, we have the Leica M9. Some cameras are tools, some cameras are statements, and occasionally, rarely, in ways that photographers spend years trying to articulate, a camera becomes something closer to a myth. The M9 is that camera. Released in 2009, it was Leica's first full-frame digital rangefinder, and it arrived carrying the full weight of everything the CCD era had been building toward. Full-frame sensor, Kodak CCD color, classic M-mount lens compatibility, manual focus rangefinder shooting. It was not simply a camera, it was the answer to a question the photography world had been asking for years. Could digital ever feel like Leica? The M9 answered that question with a color response that still makes photographers stop and stare. The Kodak CCD sensor had a way of rendering the world that was distinctly its own, deep reds that felt saturated without being aggressive, blues that had weight and emotion, skin tones that carried warmth rather than the clinical accuracy of modern CMOS sensors. Many photographers describe it carefully, choosing words the way they might choose exposure, not claiming that the M9 literally recreates film, but acknowledging that for many Leica shooters, it carries a kind of digital Kodachrome feeling. Deep color, strong contrast, a nostalgic richness that modern files, for all their technical superiority, often struggle to replicate. That feeling became the M9's entire identity. But the M9 was never just about color, it was about process. It was about the act of raising a rangefinder to your eye, aligning the focus patch by hand, choosing your moment with the full awareness that you were making a deliberate decision rather than letting a machine make it for you. It was about producing files that did not come from burst mode and subject tracking and computational enhancement. Files that came from a photographer who stopped, looked, and chose. Low-light performance was limited by modern standards. High ISO shooting required patience and acceptance. And yet, none of that dimmed the mythology. If anything, the limitations deepened it, because the M9 forced you to be a better photographer in exchange for giving you files that felt different from everything else. That trade, discipline for character, technical constraint for emotional resonance, is exactly why so many Leica shooters still call the M9 irreplaceable. Not because nothing else exists, but because nothing else feels quite the same. These cameras were not perfect. They were slower, stranger, and more demanding than almost any alternative of their time. But they came from a moment when digital photography still had something to prove, and Leica refused to let it lose its soul. The CCD era is over, but the cameras it left behind are still out there, still being shot, still producing images that make people stop and ask, what was that taken with? If you want to hunt for one of these classics, buying links are in the description. Deeper stories live at altbuzzmedia.com. Support the channel with a membership starting at just $7, or hit the Super Thanks button below from $2 to $100 with a highlighted comment that stays with this video forever. Subscribe if you are still here, because more of this is coming. Now tell me in the comments, which Leica CCD camera would you choose today? The Digilux 2, the M8, or the M9? Or do you think Leica lost something it will never fully recover when the CCD era ended? Alt Buzz Archives, where cameras don't retire, they just wait to be understood.